Hello, welcome to my channel or welcome back. My name is Alyssa and today we are talking about my blushes. So there's a special reason that we are talking about them, which we will get to, but I'm going to go through all the blushes that are currently in my collection, and that's basically all of my cheek products. I do have a bronzer, but I don't use it all the time, and it's not a blush. I also don't own any highlighters anymore. I either finished them or I decluttered all of them because if I want to wear a highlighter, then I can just use an eyeshadow or something like that and it works just as well because it's not something I enjoy wearing on a regular basis. So if you want to know more about my blushes, then please keep watching. So my oldest blush that is still in my collection is this blush from Urban Decay. And currently I have a goal for the year to use it 100 times, and I can stop using it sooner if I feel like it's gone bad or I just don't like it anymore. Let's go ahead and look at the inside. So this blush, it actually kind of looks almost red, but I guess like my shirt is red, so if you're looking at it next to it, then I think you're kind of seeing it's a bit more pink, and it does come off as a nice, not quite cool toned pink. It's maybe a little bit more neutral because it's not warm toned, but like I said, I wouldn't say it's completely cool. It's somewhere in the middle. It is quite pigmented, maybe not as pigmented as when I first got it because this is very old, okay? Like maybe 10 years old or something like that. And so I was like, oh, this is probably going to be done, but somehow it still smells like nothing and it's working fine. You're going to notice that there's a pretty big pan, and that is because I scraped out some to use to mix with other blushes and do different Franken makeup products, things like that. But I have also been using it just on its own. I did that recently for, I think it was Deck of Panning, where I used it just 10 times on its own. But anytime I use my current Franken blush that has it, then I cross off, or not cross off, I mark a tally for my 100 uses that I'm trying to get, because I do feel like it's probably going to be having to get decluttered soon if I don't, use it up outright, which using up a whole blush does take a lot of dedication. And, I figure if I can get 100 more uses, and then I already had a bunch of uses before. I want to say that this blush cost me $6 when I got it. It was on just a ridiculous clearance sale from Ulta. It was, I think, the only color left. It's the shade Quiver. And they don't even have these. It was their Afterglow 8-hour powder blush, which is kind of funny. I don't know, does it last more than 8 hours on me? I'm not sure. I feel like it does when I use it, but blush does tend to fade a bit anyway on me, so who knows? But yes, this is my oldest. My next oldest blush is from Juvia's Place. And so whereas that one is, decidedly pink, this one is decidedly orange. And this is back, again, this is quite old because this was when they had, I think, 2 single blushes at the time. So this one's Serafina, I want to say. You're on here somewhere. Oh yeah, because it's on the front, Serafina. But there was a different one that they had as well, and I don't remember what it looked like. But it is a nice little compact with the mirror and all that. So I'm considering, like, when I'm done with this, scraping this out, cleaning it up, and, making it just a little compact. But this is, oh, let me go ahead and start swatching things. Hold on. That can help us see my collection. So I'll do the back of my hand, but I will say the back of my hand is quite dry because it is winter and the weather here has been very dry compared to most winters. I live in the Pacific Northwest and normally we're having tons of rain. So the fact that we are not, and you can tell it's sunny because it's just natural light, that's not awesome for my skin. All right, so that was Urban Decay. Now I'm going to swatch and actually if you just see on my fingers, you can see the difference between the two. I am trying to get like a good bit of pigment, but it's also not that hard. The Juvia's Place blush is also quite pigmented, but these are these two right now. So this I can make work for me. I just use a little bit more lightly. But this one, you can kind of see against my color. It's very orange. And, maybe it would work for some people. It just, on me, I don't know, it just always looks it doesn't look natural, okay? And it's not that I need my blush to look completely natural, but it just looks like it's sitting on top of me, that I just kind of have this stripe of orange, versus the Juvia's Place will give a little bit more of like a flush, okay? So I was also, originally I had a liquid blush that I was trying to use 100 times. That I realized though had gone bad, so I threw that out. But then I decided to bring this blush in and do 100 times. Well, so I did Franken though a blush with this and the Urban Decay and a white, or well, kind of bluish powder. It was like one of those powders that was like 4 different colors. It just all kind of ends up looking chalky white at the end of it. So I used some of that, and let me show you. So that is in this little compact here, and it looks kind of, you know, fun little texture there almost. But yeah, so it's a mix of those. And so when I swatch that out, you can see then the difference. I actually have it on my cheeks today, so hopefully you can see that it's a, you know, more natural kind of color for me than the Juvia's. So it is, you know, right here. And so you can see how it's a combo of them. And so it's sort of peachy pink. I think when I uploaded the video with like this, a lot of people are like, oh, it's a very peachy blush. But if you see it on me, it is actually pink, but peach, you know. So I think that's why, you know, it's better for me. So I'm not throwing out the Juvia's Place at this point, because I feel like it is sort of a nice that I can, you know, use it together with the Urban Decay and get this sort of in-between color, because I do like a warm blush sometimes. But, you know, this is just too orange. So, you know, why not? And again, it doesn't seem to have gone bad. It's smelling fine, all that. It stays pretty well on my cheeks compared to other blushes. So I'm going to let it be for now. And this is like a nice little combo. And so, you know, I'm going to use up what I have in here, and then, you know, I might make more. We'll see how I'm feeling about this color by the end of this. My next oldest blush was really blushes. It was a trio from Milani. And so this was in the shade 2 Floral Fantasy. So I'm going to assume that there were multiple variants of this, but I'm not sure. So the first one was this really pale, it was almost like a pale version of the Juvia's Place, but it wasn't quite as orange. Like on me, it worked fairly well. And I used that one up first. And then the other two were both a little bit on the glowy side. And the one was more like a slight bit more neutral, but still warm. And then the other one was darker and more glowy, I think. It's been a bit, because I actually frankened them together, and I put some of it, like, you know, just frankened some of them together, put it in here, used it up. Then I frankened what was left of the two, added some Urban Decay, the pink blush here, and put it in. And so, you know, this has been empty. This has been busted, which was part of the reason that I wanted, actually I have, let's see. Let me use my other hand, I guess, because I do have a little bit left of those second two. So let me swatch it for you. All right, let me swatch them. So this was the middle shade, and this was the last shade. So you can see them. So if we're kind of comparing, you know what's kind of funny is that I feel like the top one's kind of similar to the Juvia's, but maybe you can see it's a little bit more muted. Maybe it's actually a little closer to what I had mixed. And so they were pretty good, but like I said, they were a little glowy. So adding the Urban Decay helped mattify it a bit, because the Urban Decay is just a matte blush. But yeah, so I was working on trying to finish it by the end of last year. I did not do that, but I did say I would keep working on it, and now they are all gone. So I no longer have any of those Milani blushes. So it feels really good, and I guess I can continue to keep this compact. This was a powder foundation. It was the Cocoa Powder Foundation from Too Faced so long ago. I went through multiple of these, and they haven't made it for a long time. So, you know, but it's a great compact. It's held up through like all these frankenings and using them, and I've got the mirror. The only thing is it's got this like little thing where you would have the weird sponge that they give you. And my final blush in my collection is from e.l.f. So this is Always Rosy, which is weird to me because it does look rosy on other people. Like anytime I see someone use it and I don't know it's this, I'm always like, oh, I like that blush. I would be interested in it. But it doesn't look like that on me. So I'm like, I don't know whatever. And even like when you order online, like you see it, that's how I got it. And like I saw the color, it did not look like how it does in person. And the way it looks on me is again, not how it seemed to be for these other people. So I don't know, but it is very pinky brown, I guess would be, like I could probably almost use it as a bronzer. So let me show you. All right, so it is this one right here. And so for kind of, all right, so if we're looking to compare, actually here, let me do it this way. All right, so again, this is the e.l.f. And I'm trying to look to see how you're seeing, but let me just take a peek, yeah. So it's definitely more brown than the Juvia's Place and the others, but you can see that there's like it's fairly neutral. I do have to be a little bit careful. It can come off sometimes. Like if I'm just doing a gentle dip in there and putting it on, it's okay. But I can go overboard. Like I can't just kind of swirl it in there for a bit and then like, go wild putting it on my face. But I would say with most blushes, that's generally how it is. I've had some more pale ones where I can kind of go in more, but I don't enjoy that. I kind of don't want to have to go in repeatedly. I want to kind of do some, get it on. Maybe I need a little bit more, but not to have to keep doing it, if that makes sense. So yeah, so these were like the ones that I finished up. These are currently in my collection, but the main ones that I would wear, I would not be wearing the Juvia's. It would just be these three. And I feel pretty good about that I have like a pink one. I have a orange one that I can use to mix with the pink to get, more of this peachy pink color, and having the e.l.f. one. And I don't mind mixing because when I mix up, I try to mix enough that it's going to last me for a little while. And it's not, like, okay, now I have to do it again. I try to do, and I only did a small bit this time, but I could see next time using my little Too Faced compact and, filling that up with a combo of them and just, being able to use it for longer. But yeah, I'm hoping I could get pan in the e.l.f. blush this year. Now that I finished off those Milani ones, I, have more days that I can spend on each blush. But yeah, I feel pretty good about the collection. I don't have any interest in bringing new ones in. And in fact, if I use up one of these or declutter or something like that, I still wouldn't necessarily bring something in. I feel like, I don't know, I'm at max a 2 blush kind of fan, 1 or 2, like, having a neutral and then maybe having something pinky or peachy pinky, but definitely not orange. That's what I've kind of learned about my preferences. So hopefully you enjoyed seeing the update that we have, blushes that have left and I can finally get rid of that broken packaging. And yeah, and I'm excited for these blushes that I own. So thank you so much for watching. Until my next video, I hope you'll be doing well, and I'll see you then. Bye!